Booyah! Welcome to our stream.
Yes, welcome to our stream, everybody. Sorry we're a bit late, but I hope we didn't make you to wait that much. So it's the second stream of ours, 9 to 5 gang, as we never call us. And today we have our regular guest, Milos, the producer of 9 to 5.
Hi everyone, great to be here back.
Yes, and a special guest all the way from Cyprus, Matias.
Hey, good to see you guys. Hi guys.
Yes.
Thanks, Simeon.
Yeah. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about the recent close test, how it went, what we learned, if anything, and also about the new close test, the one that's coming sooner or later. And also we have a recent celebration of Redhill turning 2 years old, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Shall we start with it actually?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, why not? All right. So in September 2020, Redhill turned 2 years old, and yeah, how do you feel about it? How these 2 years have been?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, from I don't know. From my side, it's like time sometimes goes super fast, but it also feels like we've done a lot, and we've had I don't know. We if I look at the first builds, and we did this probably a year ago.
On Christmas. Yep.
Yeah, we looked at the first builds that we had that we were testing, and to see the leaps and bounds forward, like it really does. It is a journey, right? So part of me is like super proud of what's happening with the game. Not necessarily like we're not there yet. We're going there, but you see kind of, hey, we were here, now we're here, we can get here, and you see the potential, and that's super nice. But I think even beyond that, at least for me, it's seeing the team kind of not only grow but also gel and kind of come together. So it's happening at even with these pandemic times. The team is growing. I think we're at 50 something today, and when we were here last year in the beginning, it was like 15, and it's going to be 70 soon, and it's growing because these to build a shooter, it takes folks. We always knew that. It's kind of knock on wood going according to plan, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, like Yasmin was yesterday asking me, like there are certain changes happening within our office. I probably shouldn't spoil that bean, but she was asking me about this place, and right here where we are actually right now streaming, this is the first place, first room that actually most of the stuff happened. When we first time started building the machine the first day when we entered the office, this is the place where originally the group of the first few people was, and now we are actually streaming here with a team of 50 staring at us and actually laughing their asses so that we are actually here sweating in front of all of the screens. And it's amazing how quickly all of this passed. Like it still feels like a first day, but we put actually flip charts straight on this wall, and we were describing the first design pillars of the game. Like it's been a journey, but like literally feels like yesterday. I cannot believe this is actually 2 years. It's surreal.
And for those of you who don't know what kind of what did we use? Like we didn't have proper whiteboards.
No, it's a flip chart, I think, is the name.
It's like kind of gluing it on.
It's horrible. You cannot clean it. It's all the time falling down. We actually painted on the wall by accident as well. So it was. Yeah. But we have to start somewhere.
It's your kind of very ghetto whiteboard.
But it felt awesome. Like the first machines, first days, everything was actually built by us. Like nothing was ordered.
The furniture. Like I think So, but yeah, it's been a journey.
Well, let's a little bit go back in time. So, can you tell a bit the early days before the company was established necessarily? So, what came first, like the desire to build a company, aka the chicken, or the desire to make a particular game, or desire to make a game in general, aka the egg?
I think we may have different answers, but
it's interesting. I'm curious. I'm curious.
No, so for me, the primary thing was to build a company. Like I honestly, like I love games. I like contributing in my own little way in making those happen, but during the 21 years I've been involved with games or making games, I often my thing is I try to help to make the game team that makes the game, and then make sure that they're happy and it's kind of balanced and it works, rather than the game. Those are slightly different things, and you're always involved. Even Max Payne 1 back in the day, my first game, you're doing testing, you're helping, you're doing some marketing, you're doing some PR, you're doing the min-spec stuff, and you touch everything. I think in a startup you also get to touch everything. So it's kind of the circle is complete in some ways. I don't know, but for me it's more about building the team and building the company than it is about building. I love the game, don't get me wrong, and the game's the thing that matters. But without a good team, without a balanced team, you'll never get there. And we're super, super lucky with the kind of team that we have now. It's super talented. Comes from a variety of countries, variety of backgrounds, and that for me is kind of the thing I'm most proud of. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, for me it's the company and the team is almost the team and the game is almost the same thing, still, because we are one game company, and when we started talking about a company, obviously that was the first thing as well, but then immediately it was okay, so what game? Because if you ask me, I'm immediately oh my god, we can do this or we can do that or we can do that. So for me, the brain, as soon as we agreed that we will do something, the mind immediately jumped to the next what's the game?
Yeah, and okay, to be fair, I have to say, even though I respect a lot of games that are successful and whatever, but I would never want to make that. I can't. There is a certain kind of, I'll be working with people who are building this or this, and I can be passionate. I want to play it. I want to, and for me, this, quite evidently is right. It was the kind of game we want to play.
Yes.
So I mean that's the easiest thing. You can always go okay, it's not my favorite game, and I can still work on this. That's fine, but you kind of still like it. For me, genres like racing, or I'll pick up some sports game and play with the kids and with friends or whatever. That's fine, but for me, having a team-based FPS is that's what I've played since, I don't know, Day of Defeat or something.
Yeah, interesting.
Nice.
So, another question actually about establishing Redhill. So, how did the team of Avengers was assembled of the 4 founding fathers and a mother?
3 fathers and 1 mother? Well, I will look at
Yes. Yeah, no. I think for us, I mean, we to go a little bit beyond that, the first kind of critical mass, if you will, of the team. Our art director, our lead weapons artist, lead environment artist are all from Remedy. So folks I've worked with over there. Milos and I have worked together both at Remedy when he was there, and then also when he was heading World of Tanks at Wargaming. So kind of we've worked together. So there's a lot of folks who've, there's a personal tie. You can talk about companies, you can talk about corporations, or whatever you want to, but ultimately it's about the interpersonal relationships. People like to work with certain people. Good people like to work with good people, and the Americans have the saying it sounds like some horrible kind of I don't know, sports ad or something. It's A players want to play with A players, but there is an element of truth to that. People who like to perform, have the capability and the drive to do something good, they kind of come together. But we've expanded from that. We've gone, I don't know,
7 at the beginning, I would say 8.
Yeah, and then when you got guys who've worked on God of War, which is an awesome game, and Call of Duty, you've done this, Red Dead Redemption, like and folks we haven't worked with who are super talented and super good at what they do. Just adding those on, it's just I think it's a positive snowball.
For me, when we started talking about a company, one of the first things we agreed was like, I want to really go to, if you think about it, we spend most of our times aside of home at work, right? With people we are working.
Yeah.
It's, I remember when you were actually leaving Remedy, one of the things that Mika, the CFO, told me was like, well, it's almost like my wife is leaving me because I actually spent more time with Matias than with my wife, and I was like.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good point. Like it is true. Like we spent each other a lot of time, and I wanted to build something and have around people that matter to me, that I like to be around, I like to hang out with. That I wanted to have the feeling like when I'm going on Monday to the office, I don't want that to be like Jesus Christ again another Monday. It's like, damn, this is gonna be a cool week. Like I'm really looking forward for the guys, and the Corona helped me to recognize how much it meant because. We were at the beginning, I was, I think, almost 3 months at home without actually the team. Like, we were working from home.
Yeah.
Then first time when I actually came here, I saw Yasmin, who is now actually straight behind the camera, the Kirill, who is actually sitting straight on the side as well. And I came to the room, like, Corona, non-Corona, I'm sorry that I have to say that, like, we hugged immediately, like it was like a family, We haven't seen each other for like 3 months, but it felt like an ages. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going back home. I'm freaking staying here. It was actually supposed to be just like half an hour here because I had another meeting, but I was like, oh well, no way. I'm not going back home if I don't have to, because the not the office but the people around matter so much,
Yeah.
and like it's fun.
Yeah.
And for me that's the important thing, because if you make entertainment is fun, right?
Yeah.
If you don't get entertained
yeah,
by it,
I know.
it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and there's it's very hard to, like, if you have a dysfunctional environment to create good things. Like I think we all know that, but it becomes like doubly hard with making something that's supposed to be fun. Yeah.
All right, and in these 2 years, Matias, have you ever had? It's a big commitment to run a company and like run essentially. Started like a startup company and growing in. And have you ever had any doubts that you would rather be working for a man than be the man?
I'm not the man. So to be clear, I think anybody who's ever worked with me for 20 years, I don't want to be the man. I'm not the man, but it just doesn't work that way. I think in entertainment or in games. The best thing you can do for people is to give them a sense of, direction. Like this is possible. This is the potential, and like with 9 to 5, I see like there is an opportunity to build something that's really 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 fun, and people will play with their friends, and it'll be fun for shooter fans. Like there's a bunch of folks who are not like hyper twitchy in terms of their reflexes or something, but they get the tactics, they understand the maps, they want to play, they want to have fun. Like I'm kind of like build that, and I don't know, I've kind of lost the track there totally, but you know what I mean.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay. Well, let's maybe talk. How do you want to proceed? Like, this been 2 years, and like, let's ask an HR question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my God!
You go first.
Jesus, that wasn't agreed.
Yes. If you say on the beach, I'm gonna spank you. But
Me on the beach? No. If you should know something about me, I hate warm weather and I hate sun.
Maybe it's a work trip to Cyprus then to our office.
Please don't. Like, don't get me wrong, I love their office and I like the people there, but no. In 5 years, with successful game, with people who love to play it and who enjoy it every day, with a team that is still having fun and it's still not eating each other, even though there's stuff happening. In some ways, it's fun now. Like I just don't want the feeling of the where are we right now to go away, or who we are right now to go away.
Yeah.
Might sound a bit quirky and corporate, but it is true. Like just having fun. So let's hope that that continues.
Oh.
And that the people outside have actually fun with what we do as well.
Yeah. So I think that was like, if we can kind of get our love of the space and that game, I think will be reflected in the game that we're building, and if we can share that with the world and people enjoy that, like that for me is the biggest thing. It doesn't need to be everybody's game. Yeah. Nothing really is, like somebody likes this, somebody likes that, but if it really hits and people, there's a certain part of the universe that likes that game and really wants to play that, that's a big thing for me. And obviously, build game one, then maybe there's something else, build these, and we believe fundamentally that we're like kind of now build games with the audience, like people who play them, build them with gamers. So okay, we're doing this, how do you like it? We'll build this. Okay, you give us feedback. We're going, okay, we kind of agree with it, because we're kind of, well, we are gamers ourselves, and that's like becomes the ultimate, like, not so great, so crappy cliche, where you go, we're gamers and you're gamers. But the truth is, we are gamers. We're building a game. We want your feedback, and you're telling us, for example, your shotguns are shit. Okay, so we kind of hear you,
Yeah, but it was actually. There was actually a very interesting bug in there. So.
We'll talk about it later.
No.
And then you kind of evolve from there, and you take the feedback, and then you come back, and you build it a little differently, and share it with the world, and then let's try and so. The good thing about games today is, like, it doesn't stop. Like, this is not just the game you get. It's a game that, okay, you give us feedback, we think what would be cool, and then we'll try something with you guys, and then we'll evolve.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's what I love about it. Like the ability, because if you think about how we did like other games.
Yeah.
Like
that wasn't very subtle.
I know. But like, I would actually not use that game, what I mentioned, but I would actually mention one of my first games that actually took 11 years to develop. For 11 years, we were guessing what people want. For 11 years, we were sitting on something that we wanted to actually people to see. Actually, it took 6 years before even the reveal of the game. And I actually mean, we didn't work together on that game. It was actually a different game.
Because, yeah. My longest one was 5 in some years, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, this was, I think I can say this because this is actually official. It was actually Mafia 2. It took actually 11 years to make.
Really?
Yes. Actually, it was 10 and a half, something like that. And it actually took, I think, 6 years to reveal. It's crazy, like you are sitting something and you want to scream to everyone, like, look what I'm making, like, look how amazing things we are doing, and involve the players, because that's the fun, right? You want to hear the feedback, you want to see people being as excited as you are. And for me, the beauty of how we are trying to make it, and what we can do with 9 to 5, and what we can actually do thanks to you guys as well on the other side, is like, people are involved, players are giving us the feedback straight ahead. We are giving them the game, and we can actually develop it somewhat together. And to make sure that what we are doing makes sense. Because like there are obviously days when stuff is hard and you are wondering like, Jesus Christ, like this is just harder than it should be. But then if the player's like, hey, I also actually got them cool features, like, it makes actually sense.
Yeah,
like, yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what actually gives me the kick.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That is a very interesting point. We've spoken about before that this genre and the live game allows you to iterate it, and maybe in like years of development it might evolve into something totally different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think like there needs to be a it evolves, but is there a core, like for example with 9 to 5, the idea of like you're working with your team, like working together, that's a big part. Like things around that might change, but teamwork, more team play, and also trying to not make it too hectic. And that was one of the big things that we had, like from like I love my shooters, but when it becomes one of those things where it's just like it feels like there's pew pew pew, and it's all like 8 seconds here, I die, I respawn, and it's just like it becomes too hard, hard paced. It kind of went away from what I like as a gamer. Like I want to be able to think a little, go like, when do I engage? When am I putting a mine behind me? If I'm a sniper, I'll block the stairway. I'll go up here. I'll do this. I'm gonna, and this guy's gonna support me. One's gonna distract them, and that kind of thing like really appeals to me as a gamer. Like we're working together. I'm doing my stuff. He's doing his stuff, and and we kind of get this thing done. I don't know. So that's fun for me. Like, and and it doesn't need to be like overthinked or hyper whatever intellectual. But what you're doing is okay. We're working together in a smart way to have fun. It's more fun that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's ask some questions that I have received from our audience. So, in the development of 9 to 5, what was the most biggest Eureka moment when you it's a pretty broad definition, but maybe necessarily when you received some of the first feedbacks or when you discovered some of the features that you want to implement and implement and worked, or anything like that made you say like, wow, kind of. Maybe we can start.
Yeah, companion drones. First time when we actually did the companions, it was interesting because we first started toy around the idea, and then we were like, oh, is it even gonna be used? Like the PIP is actually pretty bad for performance. We had to actually work around it a lot, and like, is it even gonna be something interesting? And we actually did a first user test, and like the first thing you would mention about 9 to 5 and the features, companion drones. I was like, huh. So it is a thing. And then we started watching the replays, and some people were just actually flying with it. I was like, hey, this is cool. Like I can look at, and they actually then got killed. But like, yeah, it was actually cool. I will be flying again the next time. I was like, that's not a mini game, but like, okay, if you like it, sure. And like. Suddenly, like the thing that was sort of aside, and we were not even sure, are we even gonna continue with it? Sort of made it through and made it to like being very liked. And I was like, that's the one thing. For us, then the second one, which is on the opposite, and I think I mentioned it when when we were talking about the alpha, were augmentations. That was actually the exact opposite. We came up with an idea. We spent quite a bit of time tweaking it and toying around, and then when we started testing it, no one was using it, except like 2 people. And the feature was actually working perfectly. It was fine. For these 2 guys, it was the best feature in the game. But then we noticed that it works for a very specific audience, very, very small amount of people. And for the rest, it's just a fluff. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, let's take it away. Let's cut the feature.
Well, let me rephrase the same question, but for Matias. So, I know you're super busy with running a company in many ways. So, was there any moment when you haven't played the game for a little bit, and then you would launch it, and it's like, that is different, or like, wow, this feature is like, I didn't have it before, and now I really like it, or surprising moments?
So I'll tell you a little secret. So when you work with games for a longer time, if you have the luxury of kind of being there and choosing when you engage, sometimes it's a really, really good idea to stay away for a while and then come back. And that's because if you watch something every day or you watch something every 7 days, you don't see the difference. But if you have the luxury to step back, I'm going to call it 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever the velocity of the project is, depending where it is in development. It's often a good idea to step back and see, like, do you feel it's going in the right direction? So, like, sometimes I'm there every day, and sometimes I'm there every week, and sometimes I'm there, haven't played for 6 weeks. And that is, I don't know, for me, it gives you a different perspective. Because you were here, let's say in November, then you land there and you're in the same game in mid-December. Is it very different? Yes. How has it evolved? And like, wow, because the development velocity these days is tremendous. I think we're super lucky. Part of it is we have a experienced team. We can, turn things around pretty fast. But a big part of it is that, just the tech is also much better than it was, when we started. Like, let's be honest.
Well,
Yeah.
we can run servers. Like at the beginning, it wasn't working. We were actually working like one of our PCs was a server. Like now we have everything on a server. Before downloading a build took us, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now downloading, we are just doing the divs build. So it might be actually within 30 seconds you have a build and you are playing.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
And if you compare it to development practices, let's say like what I started in '99, you started, but honestly, like way before, like if you wanted to see an iteration of a game.
Well, in my times when we started and we were doing just adventure games, that was nothing compared to what we built here. We had to build our own engine.
Yeah.
Just building the engine took years.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we had an idea that there's going to be a train going on the background on one of the scenes we wanted to have.
Yeah.
But then we found out that actually our engine doesn't support animations.
Oh. As you do.
So then we were like, well, okay. Then half of the screen was a video. That was actually running a video of a train. That was actually looping, and you were walking in front of a video. That was the only way. Our engineer found it as the only way how you can actually play animation.
Yeah.
So that's not that far away. That's like 2007, I think.
Yeah.
2005, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, with the first Max Payne, we didn't have the budget to build cinematics. So everybody thought it was like a artistic choice. Well, kind of was, but we didn't. Also, we couldn't afford to show the story in cinematics, so we're going graphic novel.
I think it actually worked better for you guys.
No. I think it was one of those like they see that there's two kinds of innovation. One is slack innovation, where this is like Google, Amazon, whatever, like infinite money, have fun, think of something, here. And then you have constrained innovation, which is more like, okay, you have $50 to tell me a story.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more the latter. Like, okay, we're like, okay, we can have graphic novels. it wasn't me, but it was more Sam and the guys. But then you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for us, when I look at what we're doing, in some ways we're combining both. Like we're pretty well funded for a startup, but on the other hand, this is not like a major publisher's big FPS.
We are still a startup.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're combining both. So that's where I think you get, in some ways, you might get the more interesting ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're forced to think outside the box. We can't go to, this is how you do X. And you'll hopefully see that in the game, that there's a little bit more soul, there's a little bit more touch for it. It's not just like formula thinking. Like I don't know. I'm not knocking it. I love that. I love my Jerry Bruckheimer films, but maybe you get something that's a little bit more Memento ish. There's something a little bit more cerebral in there. I don't know.
Interesting choice of movies. Memento. Okay.
But that wasn't like, it wasn't a major.
I get it. Now I know it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it was a really good idea, just well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's, I don't know, just saying.
Interesting. Do you see that in current development that you have any artistic constraints that we had to overcome?
Millions. I would say 1.5 million. Where to
Maybe
start?
the recent. Is there like any hack that you can share? Maybe like it looks like cool feature, but was initially.
I do. Like people were actually wondering that occasionally the reloads of the CT. I was actually the same in Alpha in CT1. That some of the shotguns or lever rifle is reloading occasionally a bit strangely. Well, yes, because we didn't actually have a partial reload for these type of guns. So it was actually a bubblegum solution that our animation team, Aki and Hugo, actually did in like half an hour, because we didn't have time to finish it.
Yeah.
So it works basically as a don't touch it, and it does what it should. And like massive kudos to them. And hi guys, I'm pretty sure like it was just some time ago working past us. That one was for me when they told me like it works. I hope you don't want to iterate it. We will use it for that, and then we will have to rework it if it works. Like okay, great. So like I think that we wouldn't have otherwise a shotgun or partial shotgun reloads if that wouldn't be there. There's a lot of these type of things where you just need to test something out. You don't want to invest, a month into doing it properly. You just want to test, shoot it out, see if it works. Does it? Doesn't it? Cool. The same with Revive. Revive was done, I think, in 2 days or something like that. Just by like one of our engineers and one of our designers hacking stuff together because they wanted to see if it works, dropping it to build, and like, hey, that was actually super cool. And immediately you had all the ideas what you could do with it. And it was like, cool, now we can actually, invest a little bit more time in it. So usually, and like for me, that's the beauty of working with Unreal and working with people who actually know their stuff as well, that you can do these type of quick iterations, that you can actually drop them an idea. It's like, hey, can we try this out? And we will. And again, that's the beauty of stuff like the close testing we are doing, that we can actually ask players like, hey, do you like it? Do you think it's a good idea? Or do you think it's completely out of mind? Like,
but it's I think one of the things to like take away from that, like the biggest thing is it's very far away. Like there's one set of school of thought, whereas I will build this, and I will give you something. This is like the director's vision. We're not that. That's not us. We're here. We're going like, hey, we have these things. How do you feel about these? And we constantly listen. And we constantly want to iterate based on what the gamers tell us. We're kind of going like, we're gamers ourselves. Like I said, the cliche. But hey, there's this, this, and this. How do you feel about this? Like this, like this, like this. And tell us what you feel, and we'll take that into account. We're not going to listen to everything and everybody because you can't. Like ultimately, that'll just blow the house down, right? But give it to enough people, and come on board, play, tell us what you feel, and then we'll iterate, and we'll build the game based on, like-minded gamers with us to build it.
And like follow up on that, so when you're developing a complex product like a game, you have a roadmap which is predefined and it goes pretty far in the future usually. So how does this approach affects the long-term planning of the development? And was there any moment when you were thinking that we should pivot from that a little bit and not go the direction we were planning to, but actually switch on to something that worked better with the players?
Well, I would say straight on the beginning, again, like if I'm going back to this wall, that was the wall when there was actually across the PvP and was actually written PvE that Matias actually found out when he actually came over. Yeah. So like there are these things when you are trying out something and either it works or it doesn't, or you just find something by accident. For us when we first time did the PvP and we started actually shooting each other, it was so much fun. It was like, this shouldn't be it. That's exactly what we want. That's the experience. That the same thing was with 3v3v3. It was just an idea that we were like, well, might not work. Just let's give it a shot. Yeah. And then like suddenly like we were screaming each other here. People were taunting each other. There was immediately chatter around it.
It was fun.
Exactly. There was lots of emotions flying in the room. It was like, that's it. Like yes, that's what we want.
Yeah. Well, but was there any particular influence from since alpha, for example, that when players' feedback has actually made you to change your opinion?
Items, for sure. Like we saw how, already within the alpha, like we rebalanced the armor because we saw that like the idea we had just wasn't exactly working for players.
Yeah. I would say there's not a single design decision that isn't
challenged, for sure.
Or impacted.
Yeah. Like you can see it on CT actually. You can actually see it in a closed test. Like the closed test 1 compared to alpha, like movement, items, guns, map, modes. The round 3, for example, was completely coming from players. Almost everything we tested was actually changed from alpha. And the close test 2, in some ways, is actually the same thing. We are testing again the things that we sort of took as learnings from alpha, and changing, evolving, improving, moving forward based on the feedback we've got.
Yeah, yeah. And well, I guess from kind of like my perspective, the bigger thing, like in terms of like running a game and having a game live, we had the closed alpha in June, and that allowed us to update the game 5 times on the server side to change things.
Yeah,
ish. So okay. So without forcing a patch, without going like, okay, you gotta download again, blah blah blah, whatever. So that was important because we take a lot of those things for self-evident, but you actually got to test those things. So that was important. But all the changes that we did, those whatever 5 or so changes, were based on people telling us X.
Yeah. Like I will never forget the first night when I was watching the first playtest, and then everyone was using one and the same gun, and they were actually murdering everyone on there. And I was like, yeah, where's my phone number? Like I need to kill Kirill. Like we have to rebalance this now. Like tomorrow needs to go freaking patch. Like this cannot stay as it is. Like it.
But yeah, okay. But that's the thing. Like the dev team might play differently. From gamers out there. You're kind of going, okay, maybe I'm using this, and this, and it's interesting for me, but ultimately when it goes wild and goes in, into the world, people are going, okay, I kind of like this, and then they're just super successful with something. So
yeah, like then the feeling when you actually get, hey, the assault rifle on SMG is pretty good. It's like, whew, good.
Yep.
We can move on, like that's awesome feeling.
Yeah. Can you describe how was it when you first time got to play with totally random people, like in the alpha, like not people you played on the close test or friends and family, and maybe when you see that they are actually getting better at your game than you will ever be, sort of. Like, how was it?
With me, unfortunately, that's not terribly hard. No, I do have like 400 or 500 hours into my latest shooter thing that I've been playing. So yeah, I'm not terrible, but I'm not great, right? In terms of reflexes, but I don't know, like for me, if somebody masters the game and starts to understand how this works, they understand that working with a team is like this and this, and I play like. For me, it gives great joy. Like they're really, because they're digging it. Because otherwise, why the hell would you learn something that you don't like? Like you're kind of going, okay, work with a team like this, do this. Okay, play here, and that for me is like that's the greatest joy. We've given somebody, something where they have fun. So, because clearly you have to have fun to do that. You're not going to do that because there's no motive other than fun to do that.
Yeah, like it was 30 minutes into the first game, in the first day of alpha, and we were playing heist. And heist, like we were always considered like it's pretty difficult, like not an easy mode. The first round, we consider ours like it's something that you really need to learn. And like I was sort of enjoying is like, okay, I will actually plant it here, it was in a bank, then I will actually take this shortcut. No one knows about the shortcut, it's easy. Like no one actually gonna get me there, and I will actually flank them. I jumped into the shortcut, blowing headshot. It was like 30 minutes, that was quick. Okay, so they know the shortcut now. 30 minutes. The shortcut that like I knew and about 4 people here knew, and were using it for our flanking tactics. Yep, the feeling of that went well, that went fast, was awesome.
Yeah, but gamers are pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. A couple of more questions before we have a break, and let's talk a bit more again about the company. So we are living through somewhat uncertain times right now. So how does that influence the development, maybe in terms of pace, in terms of communications, and like how do we cope?
I don't know. How do you think we cope?
Pretty well.
That was nice move. I like that. That was good.
Yeah.
Return the ball.
Yeah.
Well, if you we had just actually chatted about it with Katja. We had for the leadership day in Finland here. We did a stream and
With the IGDA.
IGDA. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. I couldn't remember.
Context, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And like you can actually find it on Twitch. I still believe. I think it's actually there. And yeah, like it's not an easy thing, but we are actually doing like at least in my books we are doing pretty well because I was worried in February. You know, like we have 4 months to alpha. There's a lots of work to do. We knew this was gonna be easy. And on top of that, we have the beautiful thing called 2020 with it's all beauty and a beast. And within 2 days or 3 days, all the infra was working. People were actually at their homes, safe, working very well, and like it was almost like nothing happened. And I was like, well, that went well. I was surprised, very positively surprised about how smooth it was. And I think that like that's kudos to the team. And kudos to the IT guys as well for how quick it was to set it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think this situation gonna change how gaming companies run the business? Because it's natural for them whenever you get a new person on board, you would always prefer them to relocate and stay at the office with the team. Do you think that's gonna change?
So, I think it's a bigger question.
Yeah.
There are companies who really embrace distributed development, right? Some of the larger ones that are like even at 1,200 people, right? And they still do that. Kind of our current thinking, like to be blunt, we have our biggest kind of core group now in Helsinki, but we also have a person in Sweden, person in northern Finland, a person in Antwerp, a person in Canada, 3 people in Cyprus. So we are distributed, but with a strong hub. I don't know. Like my gut feeling is some things you just need people to sit together for, and some things you don't. And I've never felt that everybody should sit in the same office all the time. And people should always be able to go and work from home and interact and do that. But when you have something that's as we call it, cross-disciplinary team, when you need a programmer, artist, animator, audio guy, whatever, together, sitting in the same space to iterate on something, that's really hard to recreate over Zoom. Whereas there's 8 million other things you can do remotely that are easy. But I think you need to think in those terms, like what's the purpose, why, and how. I think you can overcome anything, and you can do anything remotely,
I agree.
other than probably children. But but other than that, you can probably do everything online ultimately.
Well, Katja is doing HR remotely and it's pretty successful with that. So like, I would never believe that. So.
Yeah. And another question from the audience. Milos, in one of the talks you spoke about awesome virtual coffee rooms. Are you still doing that? How is it going?
Actually, we do. So the virtual coffee room, I believe Tony is still streaming on Discord. In our internal Discord, not on the external one. Sorry. But like he's doing that. I know that occasionally we do that with other guys as well. Especially if we have some longer meetings or something, we might actually turn it into virtual coffee rooms. Many times we are calling people, and like with Matias or Katja as well, we could actually just have a chat for like a few hours and just have a chat.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they are in the same room. Obviously, it's easier as we know each other very well, and we were working together for a very long time. But even with some of the other guys, it's is becoming a thing. Like for the 2 years anniversary, we were actually running the anniversary party
Yeah.
online, and like I know that you and Bart, like Bart is our new intern on the level side.
Yeah.
You had a chatter for like 2 hours,
Yeah.
while Bart was actually still in the quarantine in his hotel.
Yeah.
You were in Cyprus, and like you still guys actually had a great chatter, and you were partying.
Yeah.
We delivered him some booze, no worries, that was fine.
Good. Maybe on this note we can have a small break. So like a tactical tinkle break, and then we can return and talk more about the close test, what we've learned, and what people can expect for the upcoming one.
Sounds
so
awesome.
Please don't leave. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Let's say 7 Helsinki time.
That would be 5 o'clock UK time.
Or who knows what
I know.
other times.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry we had a couple of technical issues, but some of them are resolved, some of them aren't. If you still hear me not that well, we apologize. It's our second time.
Hey, things happen.
Yes, exactly. So now maybe we can talk about a most recent event in 9 to 5. It's the closed test number 1. So Milos, how did it go overall?
Well, the first close test went very well in my books. You know, like we had a lot of good feedback from people. Plenty of people came on board and gave us their 2 cents on what they think about the game. We had lots of play sessions, lots of data, which is always a lot of fun. Within we were able to confirm lots of hypotheses like movement, gun feel. Like we see that it goes to the right direction based on the feedback we are getting. We did prove the things like, hey, turret was too much OP. We had that thought as well. We wanted to see like how much can we push it and where is the limit. We found the limit. That's good. It was actually OP. That's fine. That was actually the plan in some ways. Because like we like there's still the time when we can actually do these things. We found awesome bugs. Like for example, the shotgun was very enjoyable and it was actually not was randomizing completely different than we wanted. So like in fact we were actually not hitting that well because the shells were actually going all over the place. That was the reason why someone was saying like occasionally it felt good. Like yes, if you had the guard roll of RNG and everything went to the center by accident, then yes. So that's gonna be fixed already in the next one. So like we got a lot of stuff out of players, and like as I said, for us the most important question was: Are we on the right track? Are we on the right track with the movement and with the guns? And it seems like we do, and that's another reason why in a CT2 we will be able to drop new guns, different guns, a little bit different things as well, new features in there, because like we are somewhat happy with the previous.
What was the most surprising thing you found? Like maybe something new you have added, for example, trees?
Yeah, that was awesome. Without going to names here, trees were awesome. The thing is that I didn't learn it until the 3rd day. Like I saw some comments and I was like, yeah, it must be like something strange is there. And then on the 3rd day I was playing on the NA server and I was sniping someone from the rooftops and I was like, ploink, missed. How did this actually end? Well, ploink, 2nd one. Is there something wrong? Ploink, 3rd one. Oh, damn it. There is a collision in there. So like, yeah, you know, new features. Let's say that we have very sturdy leaves in the game, and it's a new thing. They are bulletproof nowadays, so that should be actually a way as well in CT2.
No, but I think it is kind of part and parcel when you put things in very quickly, and you're going, okay, we're gonna have vegetation. Did anybody check the collisions? And those.
So the thing is, if you do the fixes on the last moment, so they actually did check the collisions and they were fine. Then we had another problem. There was a problem in companion drones that the collision was set up a little bit differently and it was actually interacting with stuff and you could actually fly out of the environment. So we fixed that. But with that fix, we actually.
Yeah.
So like it was sort of a fixing of one thing that actually broke something else. Was actually interesting. Was actually good fun to actually look into why the hell this actually
But
happened.
this is maybe like goes into the heart of the close tests that we're doing. Like these are really live, raw builds.
It is a build from literally like cooked up. Yeah.
And like none of us like would ever like launch a final game with this. You know, we can pretty much clear that out. You know, like, but if you do something, hey, okay, we'll cook it on Tuesday to get it down on Thursday, then that happens.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, if we have a fun build, we and frankly, I think it is fun. It is nice to play, but it's going to be buggy. Like things will be there, and you're kind of going to go, okay. But that's real game development. There is a whole kind of, you know, I don't know. There's so many names for different things. Like, if 4 weeks before a company says that this is our beta or whatever, they're not going to change anything in 4 weeks. Guess what? It's going to take them 2 weeks to figure out what you've done, how you played. And then they're going to analyze it for a week. And then what? They're going to, in 7 days, magically, like, that's, like, for us, we actually generally want to give you this.
Yeah.
You tell us, how is it? And then we'll change things. And that's the thing we want to do.
Like beta 4 weeks before release is called Goldmaster. That's not called beta.
Oh, yeah.
And usually it's actually for testing servers. So like it's and it's obviously great, but like our tests are a little bit different. We are really testing the features. We are really testing the mechanics, and like we want to know are they working? We want to still change them, and like you will see it even in this in the close test too. That like we already changed a few things. You know, like we changed a little bit how the movement works.
But this is maybe like a question to the guys watching the stream. Like, we call them closed tests, and sometimes I feel that doesn't really convey what we're doing. Like, if there's a better idea of what we should call these kinds of tests, then, you know, let us know to like understand what are you playing? Like, you're playing a raw development build. Should be fun. Like, we won't give you anything we wouldn't play ourselves, right? So here, have fun. Tell us what you think. I don't know what we call them. Like
Goblet of fun.
well, goblet. Okay,
No.
very Eastern Europeans. I'm sorry, but anyway, but if there is an idea for kind of like how do you convey the message of what we're doing, you know, tell us, and we'd be happy to think about that.
Yeah. Well, if you come up with a better name, maybe we'll give you some prize. Like in this T-shirt.
Oh, Mr. Goodie Bag.
Yeah, unwashed.
I'm not sure. Like the second prize is 2 T-shirts unwashed. Just saying.
Yeah. Just want to be a rock star for a second. All right. So in this close test, we obviously spend a lot of time playing with the community as well. So how was your experience? I have some stats.
Oh God.
From your 2 of you playing the game, but how did you feel? How did you do in this? How was the game? Was it easier to play in close test than alpha, and or like have the new changes improved the quality of your life in the game? Have you died more frequently or less frequently when turrets were introduced? And have your team carried you in the 3rd round?
He has the data.
Yeah.
These are leading questions. It's a trap. Don't go there.
No, I wouldn't go. Like, it was fun playing with people who've, you know, come into the game, and that I thoroughly enjoy that. I have to say, I think we're both kind of tilted a little. Maybe you're superhuman, but I played both on NA and EU for a few nights, and it's a little bit of a different experience.
A bit, yes.
Yeah,
I would agree.
yeah, but that's mainly like for me. It was me. Like okay, the ping was actually okay. Like even with a high latency, it was actually really good. which was super surprising, to be frank.
What was the latency from Cyprus? Around 200?
Yeah,
And still
180 to 230, and it was still playable,
That's
which
very nice.
was like, I know one of our programmers, Mikko, has put a lot of effort into fixing that.
Yep.
Like, there's things we can do to make it good, but I would never expect it to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Like huge respect for that. But I don't know, like, because I play a bunch of games that have lower ping that are unplayable, but this was actually playable. So I don't know why. Like, honestly, like I could not pinpoint, other than we've done some predictions on there that work really, really well. But yeah, different experiences. You play differently at 3:45 in the morning than you do at 4:20. You know.
Or 750.
Yeah.
After the full day.
Interesting choice of numbers there with 420. But yeah. So let's see that in this test, Miloš hasn't actually died of his own grenades, surprisingly.
None?
No.
Actually, yes, because I exchanged them for fire starters because I was testing them. I was too afraid to take a grenade.
Yeah.
Well, and most, like, half of the time you were the last person on your team to stand, so that was good.
I was hiding somewhere, I guess.
Yeah.
Camper.
There were a few kills of the turrets though, by the turret.
Yeah, I know.
One of them was mine.
Yeah, that one was awesome. Like, you so got me. I straight went to our internal communication. I was like, wow, that was perfect placement. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you only fell down on the roof once.
yeah,
To your death.
Yeah, I exactly know what that happened. I was trying to avoid one guy, and well, I did avoid him. I did not avoid the death. But
Yeah. Matias fell down only twice. What? More than Miloš, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, Matias died pretty much twice per match. So in 2 rounds, you managed to, yeah, accidents happen, unlucky. But you have you're on the lower percentage of people who were killed by headshots. So you managed to dodge them pretty well. And
that's nice.
Okay.
yeah, and
The reflexes of the moon goose are paying off.
Yeah.
yeah, that's not bad at all. Not bad.
Well, poking your head out.
Yeah, you just rush through immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go back to the close test. So, Miloš, the next close test it's going to be more about gunplay.
Yes. So we are looking now a lot about the close and mid-range combat. So we will be swapping the weapons quite a bit. So if everything goes well, there's going to be a lot of let's say the old new weapons. So the old weapons from Alpha that you were used to play with, but with new setup, with new balance, with new FOVs, sometimes even with new animations already. And that's gonna be all dropped together. We will remove a lot of the guns that were in the closest number 1 to actually get people's hands on them. We felt good about some. I think AR, like both of the ARs and the SMG for this work pretty well.
Yeah.
While the LMG is not gonna be in the close test number 2, but there's still some stuff we have to do. It was a little bit of an outlier. It didn't do exactly what it should occasionally. Shotgun, obviously, there's going to be huge focus on shotguns. There are going to be, again, if everything goes well, three shotguns in a play to see how it works and how they actually interact and perform in the battlefield. We want to make them strong. We want to make them, kicky, to have a reason to play, because we know that in a CT1 the shotgun didn't really have a place. There are going to be some experiments as well. I cannot yet say what. I think Juho, our weapon balancer, would probably kill me if I would say it now without the tests. But there are things we are trying, and we would like to hear people's opinion. Or like, is it crazy or is it fun?
Yeah. But really, in many ways, like for this test, it's going to be close and medium range in many ways,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are taking, like, there are going to be some options for long range, but we mostly want to see how people perform in the close to medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no more campers.
I think we will still give them an option. I think there's, if all goes well, there's gonna be one option that I'm really curious how it's gonna pan out. I think I can spoil a bit. Like let's say that I would love to see how a lever rifle would work with a scope. That's the idea. But there are different things we want to try, and like this is one of the focus as we said at the beginning. Like each of the closed tests is there for a reason, and we are testing some part of the game. So this is definitely a big thing for us this time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, I don't think there is much we can disclose more about the closed test. We're gonna have a better announcement coming.
Well, I think we can talk about because people already noticed in CT1 that there were some active abilities and passive abilities on the companions.
Yes. Good point.
So yes, you were right. You were completely correct. We are playing something around that. So there are some abilities that you will be able to put on your companions and use them in different ways. If it's being a bit faster, if it's in some of them are something you have to enable or you have to use actively. Something is just works and it's there, and sort of you can then recreate the flying camera into a little bit different devices that might actually provide you even more edge in the battlefield. So that's gonna be one part. The second part are gonna be the ASS. I didn't want to.
Just roll with it.
Our asses. We are kicking off a new set of them. We completely revamped the system, and you will be able to actually now set up lots of new abilities for your combat. Again, some are active, some are passive.
Yeah.
So there's a lots of cool things that you will be able to try and use in a combat.
Yeah, but some of those will be like I can just see having fun.
Yeah, me too. Especially we connected some of the new features as well. Like for example, revive. I think I can spoil the one that one of the abilities is that if you get downed, it will immediately deploy smoke around you. So you will be able to actually be better prepared for these type of moments. So there's a lots of things we are trying to sort of interconnect with the mechanics we are working with.
Yep.
Very well. And when is it happening? Sorry.
Not yet. Sorry. Again, my apologies. I'm the evil person, I know that, but I really cannot disclose before we are 100% sure. I know it will be great to say now, but I don't want to end up in a situation where we will have to apologize and say sorry guys, we couldn't make it, or we have to move it by a week or something. Rather wait, and then give you the date when we are 100% sure and you can actually prepare your calendars.
Yeah, but it's not going to be long.
No. We are talking. I can say we are talking weeks. We are not talking months. So.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated. So follow us everywhere. Smash that like button and ring the bell. So now let's go into the freestyle answering question that we have collected from Discord and from social media.
Yep.
This one's actually about closed test. So from Nix, infamous person on Discord, and actually one of the top killers in the closed test, number one. So is there anything you saw in the data that you collected in the closed test that blew your mind or curbed your expectations?
Plenty. I would say the one thing that was interesting, because I was checking through the data of how people liked or disliked certain flows, and I was surprised that some of the flows that I felt like maybe a little bit too simple were actually very much liked, and people were like, we like this type of gameplay, that's, for me, that's great to see that simplicity might be one of the things to look into. For me, it was interesting to see. Another thing that that was actually a little bit of a mistake on our side. I noticed that there was a lot of people, more than 80% played with one specific gun. Then we found out that the problem was that we actually put it as the default loadout, and everyone was actually using that.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it! We didn't want that gun to be in the default loadout, the first one, So these type of small things and small learnings, or again that we by accident kept the old names of the loadouts because that's how we actually called them, and we didn't want these names to be there because they are sort of leading, and we were like, okay, well, keep it in there. It happened already. It's these type of things from data, because occasionally you get data and you don't understand why are these happening, and then you get these type of damn it. Okay, well, next time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good point. Another actually question from Twitch chat. from a person named Nocten. Are we planning to have a female character models in the game? Because the person being a female, she would rather play as a female than just playing as a dude in every game possible.
Yes.
Okay, that was brief. Yeah.
We're building this as we go along. Yeah, they'll come online as we get things done.
Okay. And more questions about development in general. Can we hope for an extended game mode in the future? So would involve more people, larger scale of the maps, battle royale,
Oh, battle royale.
match 3?
Yeah, I would say match 3. Yeah, we are definitely thinking match 3 and poker, and actually Tetris as well would be good. We are testing different things and different scenarios, and like right now we are focusing on 3v3 and different game modes within that. But I'm never saying no to experiments. As you could see that we are trying to try different things, and like we have even internally some cooking ideas about stuff. So maybe down the road. If you have any ideas what you would like to see there, shoot. I would love to hear. If it's on Discord, on either in suggestions or in feedback. Like, hey, feel free to just put it in there. We will read it. I know that people might think that we don't, but we actually do read this, and we are really going through them with design. So it would be interesting. What do you think, Matias? Which mode you would like to see?
Frankly, I mean, for me, there's a lot of games who are already doing some things, and I don't think we should emulate that. I think there's interesting spins and takes on, like, we have a lot of ideas internally, right? Like, let's take this but spin it a little differently, look at it from a different angle, maybe we can change something. So I think those are the most interesting ones, where you take something that's established and fun, but you give it a new twist. And we have a lot to do with 3 teams, 3 rounds. There's something there to be played with, and I think that's our first focus. And if we ever get, there's a bunch of things we want to try. So let's see.
We have lots of ideas.
Yeah. Nice. A bit of pessimistic question from a user named The Great Senior on Twitch.
Well, the older you get.
Yeah.
Hey, Senior.
Yeah. Does Redhill have a plan B? Because we're seeing a lot of shooters coming and dying out in under a year after release. What would happen to Redhill if 9 to 5 fails?
I'm a big fan of building companies that are anti-fragile, and that's like a business word for making sure that if 1 or 2 things fail, it doesn't take everything down with it, right? Been doing this for 21 years in different environments, and you always have a plan B, plan C. You have different contingencies. You build. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in what you're doing, but it means that you're, ready for having either slack in your schedule, slack in your financing, slack. So we're huge fans of that. Just like some of the biggest successes, at least that I've been lucky to be a part of, came through some kind of crisis or some kind of failure and didn't work, and you needed to build something. And most of the games, other than I'd say 1 in worth 2 in my career, have taken some kind of crisis or hit back before they actually then found their audience and people loved them. So I think that's part and parcel. And if you work in games and you work in entertainment, it's we're not building widgets. It's not logistics.
Yeah.
We're trying to create something that's fun, and fun is very hard to plan for. So of course there's always a plan B, and we've been super lucky that we can build enough slack into our company, whatever you want to call it, financing, staffing, everything, that we can have that slack. And I don't say that lightly because I realize a lot of people don't have that luxury, and we shouldn't take that for granted, or nor should we be kind of, too, easy on our heels. It doesn't give us the right to be too chill, but it does give us safety. It does give us the opportunity to innovate and take risks, because unless you want to build something interesting and fun, you need to try things that might not necessarily work. And hence we go back to the closed tests. Like, let's try stuff out. Let's see what's better. And let's try things out. Let's have time to do that. And then find the right thing and then really build on that.
Yeah, like that was the same thing with the 3v3v3.
Yeah, it was.
It is a risk. And everyone was asking, like, this is crazy. This is insane. Like, you are never going to be able to balance the levels this way. I was like, well, why not to try? That's where the fun is coming from. That's where the passion is coming from. And in some ways, I want to be part of something that is fun and that we can actually say, well, we tried.
Yeah.
We try different things. And like, some things will not work, some things will. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's find out together.
Well, excellent answer for a pessimistic question. Let's talk about some fun stuff. So we've talked a lot about bugs and what we've seen throughout the development. But what's your top one unique or favorite bug that was bug or glitch that you've had so far? Maybe it's more for Milos because he's seen them all.
There's so many. The first that actually comes to my mind, and I'm not sure if it was actually, I think no one ever saw that, but in one moment when we were changing a little bit the camera and the characters, the camera when you got killed went inside and outside the head. What actually happened then was that actually you saw your own character's eyes, nose, and mouth with teeth.
Yeah.
And it was pretty goddamn scary. And like you literally saw it for like a glimpse of a second, and it went back. It was like that looked like from freaking nightmare. Like if I would ask the guys to make this as a feature, it would take us probably half a year. Like it was awesome. And at some point I was like, I want that to be released because like every single time I died, I was like, okay. Next time I have to play better. That bug was good. I like that. I think that was the one that I remember pretty well.
I don't know. Like for me, there's a lot of in-game stuff that happens, collisions, whatever. Things happen. Fine. I think for me, we had two buttons on screen that said play that I could click.
Yeah.
Which for me was like the most confusing user interface ever. And we built this game and kind of like two buttons that say play. I'm going like, I don't know. It's like these are things when you're building things quickly and things lead to this menu leads here, this menu leads here. I'm going like, oh my, just saying. Yeah.
So I will have actually two extra on that one. So with the button, there was actually one more button which was hidden, and actually it wasn't there in alpha. Thanks, God.
Did it say play?
No, it was hidden completely. But in friends and family, when we started first time testing UI, we had actually development UI, which we were just testing screens, and like it was horrible. It was very quickly cooked by me. I'm really never should actually touch UI, but I actually just needed to test something for Mumi. And I had a hidden button which was completely invisible and you couldn't see it in the corner of the screen. The problem is that if you didn't know it was there, you would know it, and as no one actually knew except me and Mumi, and we sort of forgot about it, it sort of went to the build. So you were able to actually see all the screens from like God knows when, if you would actually go up there and click it, and then since then every single time when we go to edit form of test, like first thing I test is every single corner and is there anything clickable, just by any chance.
Yeah, I actually have seen you clicking around the screen like a madman.
Yeah, and
before the closed test.
That was me trying to like, didn't someone forget something? One more was, Matias, do you still remember the human pyramid?
Yes.
So at the beginning, when I was saying that we didn't have servers on the internet, we had actually everything local. How it worked was that we were basically building everyone into one room, and like we were basically waiting on the map for everyone to join, because we didn't have actually proper matchmaker. which meant that we were able to run around and do stuff. And when we disabled jumping, the first thing that we had was like, can we somewhat stack people on top of each other? And the feature was that like we still didn't have that many systems, and you were able, if someone was standing on top of someone's head, if the guy here moved, he would move the guy on top of as well. So every single time we were waiting for people, we were trying to do as high pyramid of people as possible. The record was 7. You had to use for that the waterfront. You had to use the tall building and jumping straight on the people, and hoping that you will actually hit exactly.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We spent we have lots of good videos when we were trying to make, like, I think 7 or 8 was the maximum that we managed to actually get.
I thought it was 7. But yeah,
I think it was 7. Yeah, I think so too.
Hypothetically, can you hit the ceiling at any point?
Yes, you can actually. You will just be moved away. That was awesome. We actually occasionally did it if someone jumped before. So.
Nice. And has any of the bugs became a feature eventually? Do you remember anything like that?
So I've worked on games where bugs became features. Worked on games where effects became features. I think with this one, I don't think so. Like I would, if anything would be there, it would be a drone ability or something. But I don't really remember.
Yeah, not yet. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But like as Matias said, it will happen. Like
Maybe the new LMG effect.
well, it's very effective. Let's say it this way.
Yeah. For the context, that at certain point in one of the recent builds, if you were shot from LMG, your screen would go black as an effect of that.
For like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Works perfectly.
Yes, but yeah.
Oh, drones can open doors thing. Was that a bug or a feature?
No, it was actually featured.
Okay, so it was built in.
I was built in. Like we didn't have time to like really, like we had already planned through what to do, but we were like, we want to, again, like as said, we are testing things, and that's why occasionally we might not do the final integration, but we wanted to see if it's gonna work, or like what is it gonna actually do anything. So
Yeah.
So they had a magical hand.
Oh well. One user is asking, will your game have loot boxes?
No. Sorry, Matias. I can say it straight ahead, but I would say we really believe in fair monetization, and like for me, there are different ways, and I think we want to go a little bit differently. Loot boxes, I think we already said many times, even on Discord, and I think we have it even in our FAQs that we are saying no to them.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, so we are focusing on monetization that wouldn't affect how well you can play the game, and that wouldn't give you advantage over other players with less money.
Yeah, especially in PvP shooter, you know, the trust between developer and the gamer is the most that you have, and we don't want to lose the trust.
Yeah, it kind of like any good game that you play. Trust is like the biggest currency. Like, like the games I like to spend money in are the ones that make me feel afterwards like there's no buyer's regret. Like the worst case scenario is where you feel you've been cheated.
Yeah.
And as a gamer, like after that, I'm pretty much done, to be frank. So I think it needs to be built in a fair way. You know, there's various ways, and you know, you can tailor it and tweak it and build it in 8 million ways. But the key thing is like, how do I feel as a gamer afterwards? Like, did I get something that I value, enjoy, and I feel like this is good, or not? If it's not, then that's not great.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see a bit more questions. So in terms of developing and progressing with development, so at first, how far in the let me reiterate, because it's coming from me actually.
Nice.
It's based on a question from a user, but yeah. So there's a lot of talks about realism and how tactical shooters are some of them are very realistic and others are very arcade. So at which point at this spectrum are we aiming at, and has it shifted during more public phase of the testings?
Super short answer. Simulations are one thing. I don't think we want to build a simulation of, they. On the other hand, I don't think we want it to be arcadey. So if I had to say on the spectrum, we would be more realistic or feel more realistic, but it's more movie realistic than you're tracking physics of this, that, and the other thing. So I think we're there.
Yeah, I would say I don't like the word realism. I like the word believability for this one. Like, how many of us were actually in Battlefield? Not many, right? Most of our Battlefield experience is from watching Bruckheimer. So I think we are, as like, if there will be simulation, believability, casual, I think we will be on the around the believability part.
Yeah.
But like simulation, we are not looking for simulations. That's I think there are great games out there, but that's not exactly what we would like to build. But like, aren't we casual? No, we don't want to be casual.
No. Yeah.
But has it anyhow changed, like the way that we implement more realistic mechanics or more casual mechanics? Like,
well, we tried many things.
Yeah.
And like, we tried very hardcore features, like things that even internally were like, wow, like, this is rough. Like at one, I cannot actually. No, I shouldn't say that one.
No, but when there's a point in time in playing a game where it becomes almost like insider baseball. Like it becomes too.
Yeah.
It becomes too hardcore, and then it's, you're sub-optimizing something in something, and that's no longer like. We want you to come into the game and in 15 minutes have a good round of 3 matches, as opposed to it's filling in your tax form. Like it becomes really, really difficult.
You are completely right. You are
Yeah.
completely right. I think I was very, very well said.
Yeah.
Especially the tax form.
yeah. So yes, a good answer. Another question from Nix. So considering how the last playtest ran on Steam, do you think that you found the perfect platform for the game, or are we still looking into alternatives?
So for common test, we are definitely planning to keep using Steam as a platform for testing. It actually proven working very well.
Yeah.
For the final release, we will say when we have actually the final answer. I think Matias can actually open that as well on that. But again, like we will say when we are ready, rather than doing promises or saying something that will be a little bit too premature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's ask just a couple of more questions, then we would wrap it up.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Because people are not active enough in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, that was passive aggressive. A microaggression.
Well
played.
Okay. Actually, Nix again, surprisingly. Is any merchandise planned? And I can elaborate. What merchandise would you two personally like to have from 9 to 5 or Redhill Games? And what are examples of some merchandise you've collected that you've been surprisingly, unironically happy about to get and would rock it on your daily basis, let's say?
So on the merch side, to be blunt, the most used ever that we haven't got, by the way, is a coffee cup.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
and that is like a universal thing where you have your name on it. Like
I get it.
the games and studios where I worked, whenever you have your own coffee cup with your name, that tends to be like you almost like that you build a personal connection to your coffee cup. Like ultimately, like over the years, this has been with you for 8 years now, and it's like it looks a little dinked. It's maybe lost the thing that you hold it, but it's my coffee cup. Nobody's taking it away. Nobody throws it away. So anyway, so that's a dev thing. I think in Helsinki for sure, Hoodies are a thing. It's just a game dev thing. Like, and you can spot the different game companies and the people who get together. But
Especially on the IGDA gatherings or something, it's awesome to just see, like, it's just a collection of the of all the merchandise hoodies that are on
hoodies are a thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we can do something better. We can do something cool. We got a really super nice thermos, which was like, it's like the best thermos in the universe.
I never got that.
Well, you weren't here then, but yeah.
It was the year 1 edition. Just
Yeah, so that was nice. I mean, we got a nice backpack this year for everybody, with, you know, the USB loading cable, blah 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 thingy.
Oh,
So,
just saying, that one is mine.
yeah, that's the year 2 edition. So we try to do like an annual thing, and you know, hopefully for kind of community and more active folks, like as we go along and you know, become bigger and whatever, and, you know, the game starts to go, then hopefully we can share some of that goodness with the folks, and kind of share stuff like that, or things about the game that would be nice. I like also art pieces. I'm a huge fan of concept art, and some of the concept art that we have, Elio building, like I would really like to have those like printed out, like big and proper, but that also needs like a space, and maybe we should share some of that with the community at some point in time.
We should.
But like those are just like the mood and the vibe, and it's art. It'd be nice to have more of that.
I must say, for me, the merchandise number 1 is actually this polo T-shirt. The thing is that I really dislike like T-shirts in general. I always have like proper shirts, but all of my shirts are checkered, which is actually horrible for streams. And again, here, kudos to Yasmin behind the camera. She's always like, "Hey, can you actually not bring something checkered?" And I was like, "Well, that's hard. I actually have nothing like that at home." And I was always forced to be in T-shirt because I just don't like them.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Milos, here is your freaking polo." I was like, "Thank you, thank you." Now I can actually feel good while I'm.
So
while
you're like the 5%er of game developers who doesn't like a T-shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Like basically, if you see a T-shirt on me, someone probably asked me to wear it,
Okay.
and like they were probably asking a lot.
That's not common.
I know. Well, I dislike summer. I like cold and rain and darkness. Yeah, yeah. I might be a special one.
Yes.
I call it special, not weird, not strange. A special one.
Yes.
A special one.
We're not going to talk about it on this stream.
no. A suggestion from Slack, from Mr. Audio Rob, if we can have for year 3 edition, if we can have some branded sneakers.
Wow. Putting us on the spot. Sneakers? Yeah. We'll think about it. I think Audio Rob is going to get his own set of Speedos.
Oh.
Something for everyone. Oh yes.
Yeah. Really red.
Let's give an odd meaning to Redhill, but
Oh my god.
all right.
Hill, bump, you know, who's to judge?
Oh, okay. Okay, let's start wrapping it up, guys. And maybe if you can have say a couple of words to the players and to the viewers about what they can expect and what they should do. I mean, meaning sign up for the closed test.
Wow. Really subtle. Really, really, really subtle. No. Thanks, guys. Anybody, you know, watching, taking part, thank you. Means a lot. Closed test 2, further closed tests coming up. You know, jump in, have fun. These raw development builds, but they are fundamentally something that we feel you might also enjoy, despite the roughness. And it is, you know, we want your feedback. Let's be a part of the journey together and see where it goes. Thank you.
And I would like to thank you for the feedback, you are super constructive, and it's awesome to get all of these data points from you. It's everything that a developer could dream of. I know it might sound super strange, but like it is awesome to get all of that. Not positiveness, but the constructiveness is awesome, and like I'm really appreciating that, and I can say from all the guys here at Redhill, thank you.
Likewise. Thanks.
Yeah, and I would like to just say that don't be afraid of the word raw builds. They are still super fun to play, and we had a lot of fun playing with the community on Discord, and we are often there, hanging out in the voice chat. So if you want to play with 3 of us, then sign up, and you're very likely to kill Matias in a game.
Yes, statistically.
Statistically, but not in the head.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys, and we'll stream more, so tune in, subscribe, smash that like button, follow, whatever you kids like to do.
Take care.
Take care, guys. Thank you. See you.